its history and working toward a brighter future, and I celebrate Celestina Leon for all she has and will continue to contribute to our borough, helping our communities to become a much more livable Brooklyn for all. Now, therefore, I, Antonio Reynoso, President of the Borough of Brooklyn, do hereby confer this proclamation on Celestina Leon in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the Borough of Brooklyn to be affixed this 18th day of December, 2024.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyone else got good news? No, I'm kidding. Any bad news? Now that we got the good news already, so any bad news? Any concerns, any issues, anything? Or announcements, Any announcements, please?
Good evening, everyone.
Done.
My name is Felix Cevallo. I'm a CB4 member. I want to say something about Celestina Leon. I'm being in the board for a long time. And I saw so many district manager, and they were very good. But for the first time, I see a district manager to resource so many things, to do so many things in the same time. And that is Celestina Leon. Congratulations.
Anyone? I just have one thing to say in regards to things that this board and this community should be addressing, and is very concerning in regards to when someone sells their home and it's a one family home, and as of right, the developers have the right to increase the density in the building. But when because these houses are together, crack the next door neighbor's foundation, now all of a sudden the people that were next door is impacted because someone sold that property, and it's like a tactic like they do constantly. And we know our elected officials are always here. They're always creating laws and making changes. And this is the thing they're constantly doing. So what we really need to do is fight for our elected officials to make sure that supervision the key point is they built this new home, but not for the people that live here, for the people that could afford to live there. That the next person don't be impacted, pushed out. Because that's just a tactic they're constantly doing, and we constantly hearing it. And we're always hearing that people that have been in this community and leave the communities, they leave and Department of Buildings push them out. They try to get an appointment somewhere else, you get the same price that they had before. So it's like a tactic that they do constantly. So we have to educate ourselves and be vigilant. See something and they're selling in a building, to find out who the construction person is. Make sure we call DOT. Request to speak to a lawyer before. So lots of times, these developers come, like I had a lawyer, it says, I'm building, I want to use your alleyway. Say no. And they subpoena me to court and says, no, I'm not giving you anything. Let the judge decide. If the judge tells me I have to let you drill next to my property, then he's going to be responsible because I want $1 million bond just in case something happens to my house. Because if you make deals like money with the developer, he's gonna say he never made that deal with you. So I have to judge in the system, put that in place. Like I do. This man, because I feel pressure every time you do something, I saw him by the line, I called the movie for him and gave him a silent order. Working all night. Sitting and seeing working late at night, I told him at night. And then in the morning, doing checks. I found things we have to do to make sure we ultimate here. And make sure it's called education. We have to educate ourselves. And we can only count on the community board to go out there to do advocacy. There's groups that do that. We make sure that the city agencies come in there and do what they have to do. So there's a tactics. So I'm just letting you guys know it makes party out. You see a sign, you see a scaffolding, you see them closing it down. Find out. What is it? What's going on? I'm going to give you $500 every 2 months or every 3 months. I'm going to leave my scaffold there. Yeah, and then you get it 5 or 6 years, and you got a scaffold in front of your house. Make a judge. You got you got 2 months. You got 2 months to push it out. If you don't push it out, it's going to cost you $2,000. And that's what I did. Your Honor, you got it here. If you don't do it in next month, I want to see $1,000. I want to see more money on insurance. And I want him to fix my roof and to cover my roof to make sure it doesn't leak when they leave. They put a 5-story building next to it. Now everybody knows you can't play games. So we have to let these developers know that you can't should know. Shouldn't know. It's very you gotta know. Those are tactics that they do, and they say it constantly. And then you come to the office and say, well, they got my foundation next door. I got to move out, bro. Why didn't they do it? The orchard says the foundation's cracked. They got to shut the gas. They got to shut the water. And then we got people saying, oh, you got to move. There's a problem. Nothing to do. You can't be knocked out. They can't knock you out. Okay, I got to go to the no. You can't leave. Don't leave. Call the office. Let's go in there. 7 times I went no, they're not leaving. And I called the owner from there. So you can't knock them out. But it wasn't a knockout. We got the paper that says we can if it was a knockout, and we go in as not a knockout. And then have to open it up again and let the tenants go there. You must at first only to get a new plate. Everybody else, I don't need plate. You could do because they're going to be using the hot plate to cook their rice and beans. Those are the things we got to educate our people to stop pushing. It's a trouble, and it's going to get worse with the city of yes. I'm telling you now, it's going to get worse. Thank you.
I want to say another thing related about Camacho say. In our community is a lot of construction, a lot of business activity, and we have to be alert because we living in the community for the whole time, and a lot of people coming to our community for make monies, and a lot of commercial activities. Sometimes they broke about the way the neighborhood living. For example, some business, they want to be 24 hours. They want to be late in the night. And we have to keep we have to keep the way we living. Sometimes in residential area, they want to be late in their activity. What I can say is, if you see something, say something, because a lot of private company, they want to make money, but we had to defend our right. Thank you.
Good evening, Stephanie Anderson, CB4. Some of my neighbors came to me saying that the hotel in our neighborhood is going to turn into a homeless shelter. And they didn't bring this to the community board, neither did they alert, the community about it. And no one really knows about it. But I went down the rabbit hole and saw that indeed there's a lease out and the broker handles homeless shelters. What can we do about that? Weren't they supposed to bring that to the community board?
Thank you. So this was brought to the office's attention, and I explained to the, several different people that called that we reached out to the Department of Social Services. They indicated that it is not in their pipeline. So whether that is them being upfront and saying that it's not them, or that's them basically giving us a non-answer and then surprising us in the future, it's hard to say right now. The only other recourse that we can think of where they don't inform the community board first is if this is an emergency executive order for shelter. However, they're right now closing those facilities. So whatever else this may be, the board has not received any formal notice yet, and none of the agencies that we contacted have any information about what this is. My only guess is that it could be supportive housing, and they're calling it a shelter. Those are two very different things. So, but that's where things stand right now.
Okay. Well, we've been calling Department of Buildings, and we're prepared to do a petition.
I've suggested that folks reach out to their council member, Sandy Nurse.
I called
Yeah.
Sandy Nurse.
And
waiting for an
they
answer.
most likely will be able to get a faster answer because they cut through the bureaucracy as opposed to us working within it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sinray. I work at the Independent Budget Office. I'm the new community engagement specialist. Show of hands, does anybody know what IBO is? Independent Budget Office? Do we know? Oh, not so familiar. Some people familiar. Okay, great. Well, IBO is a New York City government agency, but we are independent in the sense that we don't report to any elected officials. Our purpose is really to provide data-driven insights into New York City's budget to the public. So we do that through data reports that we publish around like year-round, as well as analyses of major budget documents published by the OMB and the mayor's office. So actually today we just published our analysis of the November plan, and the projections were pretty similar, but there are always some differences. Last year there was a big difference in our surplus, and some people found that interesting. But yeah, so I just wanted to share about IBO and that we are open to suggestions for report ideas from the public. So if you guys have any thoughts on some issues that you're trying to work on and you need more data-driven evidence, we can provide that for you with limitations. The budget is, not an infinite document. But yeah, some examples of documents we've produced. We did a report on HRA staffing and how that's been impacting application processes for SNAP benefits and cash assistance. We put out a report recently about affordable housing strategies and throughout the years of different mayors. But yeah, we have experts on education, transportation, housing, infrastructure, etc. So we have a pretty robust ability of like looking for data. So yeah, I hope that made sense. All right, this just felt like a weird segue after congratulating Celeste and then some words about unfortunate developments, but cool.
Thank you for being here. All right, if there's anyone else, now's the time. Yep, yes. We won't want to have announcements later. This would be the best time to also have any announcements, including folks on Zoom. If you have announcements that usually are at the end of the meeting, this is the one time of the year when we have them at the beginning. Take advantage.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Happy holidays. My name's Louisa. I'm the assistant branch manager at the DeKalb branch. And I just wanted to highlight of the Brooklyn Public Library. And I just wanted to highlight some upcoming programs we have at the library. We have a lot more adult programs upcoming. So we're having English classes starting in January. We're having a diabetes self-management class happening in January. We're going to have more tax help and financial assistance, one-on-one counseling happening as well. So this is all available on our website. I brought flyers for most of the new programs. But if you have any questions or ideas, you can just come to me and I'd be happy to talk to anyone. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kimberly Vega. I'm here on behalf of Councilmember Jennifer Gutierrez. I'm the new community organizer for those that don't know me. I'm a Bushwick native myself, so this is my home. So for our announcements, Councilmember Gutierrez gave birth and is currently out on maternity leave. And our office is still operating and working, but we will be remote from December 23rd till January 3rd. Our office is hosting Core for Housing Clinic, so if you or anyone you know needs to speak to a housing attorney, they can contact our office to make an appointment. We're also hosting a coat drive. It's running until January 6th. Our Bushwick locations is Riseboro at 85 Melrose Street and at our office, 244 Union Ave. Our office will be attending the Myrtle Broadway Safety Town Hall meeting on Friday, December 20th at 6 p.m. that is hosted by Assemblymember Davila. And the District 34 office is wishing everyone a happy holidays and a happy New Year's. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Lacey again, Borough President Reynosa's office. Okay, two things. One, I don't do a lot of recaps in these announcements. I like to focus on what's coming up, but this time I brought some of these pamphlets that are kind of a little year in review of what we've been up to. So if you want to read more about what we've been doing, find out about how to get constituent services, I left some of these over there. Importantly, community board applications are now open. We have these really cute flyers that you can take, distribute, tell your friends. They're open until February 14th at 11 p.m. That is a hard deadline. If you are a member that needs to reapply, you should have gotten notice. Please make sure that you fill out your application by the deadline, and we encourage everyone to use the online platform because it is secure and it is immediate. We'll get it right away. If you have any questions about application or your term or anything like that, come talk to me. We'll get it figured out. And please help us get the word out. We really need more applicants for CB4, so we would really love your help spreading the word. Thanks.
Hi there, Annette Spelling, Community Board 4. Two things. One, the Manhattan DA's office is hosting a mental health and crimes joint symposium with the Citizens Crime Commission of New York City, Fordham University, and Northwell Health at Fordham University on January 6th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Those of you who are interested should go online because you have to register for this particular event. The other thing is the New York City Police Department has multiple civilian positions that are open and they are now recruiting. Some of the positions include accountant, bookkeeper, crime analysts, drivers, mechanical engineers, police administrative aides, stock workers, and so many more. I'm not going to read them all. Those of you who might be interested in being hired by the police department should go online to nypdrecruit.com or call 212-RECRUIT. I hope to have more flyers for next month's meeting. Any questions? Come to me and I'll see what I can do to help you.
So, all right. Yep, go ahead. Good evening, everyone. Elvina Davis, Community Board 4 member. I'm just announcing that on Friday, the 20th, we will be having the Barbara Smith / 83rd Precinct Community Council Toy Giveaway. This year is very special because we lost Barbara. We just had her funeral on Monday, and it's going to be held at Xanadu at 262 Star. And he's going to allow the kids to skate for free. and they're going to receive a toy. So it's going to be on Friday between 4 and 7. The children have to have an adult that can sign for them for the skating. And it will be from 4 to 7 p.m., 262 Star Street. Thank you.
All right, folks, let's clap like we mean it. We've been trying to clap this entire night. All right, good. Now we're warmed up. Okay, on Zoom, we have Nalisha. Go ahead.
Hi guys, just a quick, can you hear me? I hope so. Just a toy drive with Gazoo to the Moon. It will be on Saturday, December 21st.
For some reason, we can't hear you, Nalisha. Not sure if it's an audio issue on your end. We can come back. Jonathan, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Jonathan with Congresswoman Velasquez's office. Can you hear me?
Yep, looks like we have an audio issue here. Let's see if we can fix that.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Is the Zoom audio working? Are we? Okay. We'll come right back to folks on Zoom. In the meantime, I do have a few things that I wanted to note, including the upcoming Community Education Council 32 elections. They're going to be happening early next year. For more information, please check out the NYC Public Schools website. You can also attend the Community Education Council 32 meetings. There's also going to be a new superintendent. Right now, we have an interim acting superintendent for District 32. They will be having a selection process meeting in early January. I encourage folks that are interested in what's happening in our schools to get more involved. And then I just want to highlight again on the board's website, we have a news menu item. We try to post whatever we cannot fit into the newsletter. Sometimes we publish the newsletter, we get more information. Each month we provide updated, info from different agencies. For instance, I'm just going to read off the top 5 here. Reduced fare Omni cards are now available. Let's see, health insurance, there's an open enrollment period. There's also an IBX, the Interborough Express outreach update. And then save the date, there's going to be a small business financing panel and networking event hosted by the PACE Small Business Development Center. Folks can get all the information on the board's website, or if you need assistance accessing it, you can always reach out to the office. Let's check back in on Zoom. And thank you, Kim, for sharing. Yeah, go ahead, John. And there's 2 Jonathans. Jonathan Pomboza, if you want to try to share your update.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. This is Jonathan Pomboza. I bring greetings from District Attorney Eric Gonzalez. Happy holidays and Happy New Year to everyone. The one thing I just want to put on your radar is the office will be having the first annual Lunar New Year celebration on January 22nd, 2025 at the City College of Technology starting at 6 p.m. I'll share flyers in the new year. Thanks again. And if you need to reach me, you can reach me directly at 718-250-2817. Thanks so much and happy holidays.
Thank you. And we'll go back to Nalisha.
Hi folks, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Lesbian Gazoo to the Moon. We have an annual toy drive on Saturday, December 21st at 12 p.m. It'll be at Maria Hernandez Park at the corner of Star Street and Knickerbocker Ave. Free food, toys, gifts, and more. Hope to see you all there. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Nalisha. Is it possible for you to drop a flyer for that in the chat? I don't think we've received that one.
Yep, I will go ahead and send that.
Perfect. Thank you. We're going to send a reminder with all of the events. We know some folks didn't make the publishing deadline, so we just want to remind everyone, remind the board members what's coming up this weekend. And then Jonathan.
Good evening, everyone. I bring greetings from the Congresswoman who's currently in Washington, D.C., where they are negotiating this continuing resolution to fund the federal government. The deadline is this Friday, December the 20th. It looks like they're going back to the drawing board, so we'll keep you guys updated on what's happening there. But just a couple of updates from our end. The Congresswoman's teaming up with Minority Leader Jeffries, Congresswoman Clark, and Congressman Dan Goldman to host a Congressional Career Fair. It's going to be this Friday, December 20th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. At 300 J Street, over there on downtown Brooklyn. Attendees will be able to network, participate in workshops, and get a chance to connect with potential employers. So I'm urging our board to, inform our Bushwick community of this amazing event, this amazing opportunity. Two more things. Last month, the Congresswoman voted yes to pass the Social Security Fairness Act, which protects earned retirement benefits of millions of postal workers, teachers, firefighters, police, and other public servants. They are the backbone of our country, and they deserve their full retirement benefits. And it actually passed the House. We're waiting to see if it passes the Senate. Our last update is the Congresswoman announced $1 million in funding from the U.S. Department of the Treasury to Brooklyn Cooperative Federal Credit Union in technical assistance funding. This funding will empower them to expand their capacity, improve services, and uplift working families and small businesses across Brooklyn, including here in Bushwick. With that being said, if anyone needs assistance with a federal agency, please feel free to call our office at 718-599-3658. And we want to wish you all happy holidays. We'll see you in 2025. And of course, lastly, I just want to mention in the next month, in the next 4 years, the Congressman will continue to fight to bring more resources to our district and fight any cuts against the social services that our constituents rely on. So with that being said, thank you. And thank you all for your public service.
Thank you. All right. And Zach?
Hi, everyone. Zach Hendrickson, CB4 member. I just wanted to kind of as a public service announcement, let folks know if you haven't heard, Amazon workers at both the Staten Island warehouse and the warehouse in Maspeth have voted to, the unions there have voted to certify and authorize a strike. We don't know when that might happen, but they are planning it around this holiday time. So for folks who, you're getting in that last minute, shopping orders or whatever, especially if it's from Amazon, just be aware there may be delays. But I want to draw folks' attention to this. It is because ultimately, since 2022, Amazon has refused to negotiate and come to the table with the union. And so we don't know exactly if or when they will go on strike. It could happen at any time. And I just want to call out the fact that how critical and important this is. This is like a historic moment for labor. And so for folks who are able to, if and when they do go on strike. I know it's not in CB4, but I'm sure that we've got folks driving, we've got people who deliver our packages, right? And just want to encourage everyone that if you see it on the news, you can always come out to like these warehouses. They love when people come up and show community support. Hopefully I'll see some of you there. You're always welcome to bring snacks and things like that and just show support and solidarity. No, they love it. Bring hand warmers. It's cold out there. It's going to be going 24/7 if and when they go. And like I said, this is because the richest company in the world refuses to negotiate with its workers. So I just wanted to put that on everybody's radar, both for holiday plans and, maybe we'll see you at the picket line if and when it happens.
Go ahead, Luz, on Zoom.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Luz Martinez, and I'm with the New York City Poison Control Center. I just want to highlight the fact that we have several webinars coming up. Every month we do conduct webinars about poison prevention. In particular, there's one in January that I want to highlight. It's the one about storing products safely at home and includes a lot of information about cannabis, vaping, tobacco, alcohol. And this seems to be a webinar that is requested by a lot of schools nowadays. So feel free, I'm going to put on the link on the chat, a link where you can request presentations. We conduct them in person and also not just webinars, but also in person. In addition to covering New York City, Westchester, and Long Island, we also now recently started with Puerto Rico. So if you have family members, friends, or any agencies linked to some kind of collaborations in Puerto Rico, we would love for you to share that information with me. It's greatly appreciated. So my contact information is on the chat. I try to share the flyer, but it doesn't give me the icon for sharing. It just has the smiley face, but doesn't have the sharing one. But if you can provide an email, I'll be more than happy to send out the flyer. All right, thank you.
Thank you. And Nairi?
Good evening, everyone. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. My name is Nari Smith. I use they, them, theirs pronouns, and I'm the coalition manager and supervisor for Canva Agency's Brooklyn Yes Youth Against Substance Misuse Coalition. I just wanted to put on people's radar that next year / next month in January, starting on January 16th, on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, we'll be visiting businesses in the Bushwick area that is bordered by Cypress Avenue, Knickerbocker Avenue, Snoom Street, and Flushing Avenue to talk about RAM, which is Reducing Alcohol Access to Minors campaign. The outreach we'll be doing is to see if the businesses that do serve alcohol, both on premise or off premise, has resources at their disposal to help reduce that access. Because we did a survey in June 20, starting June 2023 into August 2024, where anonymous youth who live or venture into Bushwick because that's where their friends hang out and stuff, admittedly said that there is access. So we don't want to do anything punitive or anything of that nature. Instead, we want to bolster people up and see what resources can be given back to the community to help. Because we know that everyone, if they could, they would. So if you're curious about those outreach opportunities or doing community scans with us, because volunteer opportunities are available, you can reach out to me. And I shared some of the information with our district manager, Celeste, which also, by the way, congratulations. But if you have any questions, I'll also put my email in the chat. Thanks, everyone. Happy holidays and have a great new year.
All right. I see no other hands on Zoom. Right, Kim? Okay. No one else in person. Last call for public comment and or any announcements. When we get to announcements, folks are expected to go right past that item. All right. That concludes our public comment. We will now go into, in our public hearing this evening, we will now go into our first roll call. Board members, please remember to sign. If you do not sign, you will be marked as absent. Isa Abni, Stephanie Anderson, Jacqueline Becerra has resigned, Joanna Bennett, Makiba Brown-Elaine, Melissa Carrera Solano, Felix Ceballos, Andrew Choi.
Here.
Elvina Davis.
Here.
Karina Dodd. Cecilia Fabian. Freddie Fowler.
Here.
Joanna Fuentes Singh. Jason Gares. Christopher Graham. Ann Guiney. Zachary Hendrickson. Deborah Hicks.
Here.
Tanisha Honeygan.
Present.
Barbara Jackson. Barbara's here. Yeah, Barbara's right there. Kaisha Johnson. Yes, we called you Barbara. We got you. We got you. We got you. Kaisha Johnson, Virgie Jones. I thought I saw Virgie. Okay. All right. All right. Tara Jones Thomas. Gotcha. Luisa Jose. Christine Malden. Freddie Madison is excused. Ramika Nichols Barnes. Alex Moreno is also excused. Zuma Novoa. Yep. Gotcha, Z. Raul Rubio. Eliseo Ruiz. Milagros Sandoval. Annette Spellin. James Stewart. Christian C. Tate is excused. Ben Tucker. Jerry Valentine.
Present.
Gotcha, Jerry. And Linda Whitfield is excused.
28. 10, 15, 20, yeah, 28.
So we have 24 board members present. That constitutes a quorum. We will now move on to the acceptance of the agenda. Is there a motion from the board? Is there a second? Oh, second by Felix Ceballos. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. And agenda item number 3, acceptance of the previous meeting minutes. There was a mix-up this month. We will make sure that those are prepared by the next meeting. If folks wouldn't mind motioning to table. Okay, James, motion to table. Alvina Davis seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. And then agenda item number 4, election of the first vice chairperson. So we have a vacancy in the position since Desmond resigned. And so to fill that vacancy, we put this item on the agenda. I was informed previously that once we have a vacancy, we have to fill it. Are there any volunteers this evening that would like to take on the role of the first vice chair? The short version of what that entails is attending the executive board meeting. You'll now be an executive officer, and you'll also potentially be asked when Mr. Camacho is unable to be in 2 and sometimes 3 places at the same time to potentially help him out and attend a meeting. So the second vice chair is Milagros Sandoval. So you'll be working with Millie as well. But really for folks that are less familiar, myself, Mr. Camacho are here to provide guidance. Committee chairs are not eligible. So if a committee chair was interested in being on the executive board or as an executive officer, they would have to resign from their position as a committee chair. Are there any takers from the board this evening? First vice chair. The floor is open to self-nominate or to nominate someone.
But they're not here.
They have to be here.
They're normally here.
Yeah. Who, I mean, yeah, we could potentially, do we want to hear who it is? Because we could let that person know at least, so then we can ask if they want to accept since they're not here right now. Who are you gonna suggest?
I was gonna suggest Christian.
Okay. Yeah, we can, motion to table also works if no one else go ahead, Ann. Yeah, that's fine. Folks can make suggestions now. I can document it. I can ask those folks if they accept. Let me just, does anyone else have anyone else that they want to nominate before we potentially motion to table? All right, see no hands, motion to table? Okay, Joanna motions to table and it was seconded by Ms. Spellin. Yep, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay. Hearing none, so moved. Agenda item number 4, chairperson's report.
How we doing? I would just like to take a time to have a moment of silence for our beloved Barbara Smith. May God keep us in our prayers and her family. Thank you. She was a longtime board member, 28 years on the board. Until her last breath, she was still working for this community. Tell me that's not dedication. Still working, making sure that our kids have the toy drive, making sure that the A3 Precinct Council do what they have to do, calling the captain on constant basis when people called her. And that was my sister. I love her to death. It's another sad day that we lost a pillar in our community. So, yeah. Well, I'm gonna come on to another. I have the copy of the city charter, and I'm reading it here, and it says responsibility of the community board. address the welfare of the district. Sometimes I know some of our board members have outside of their place organizing or doing whatever it is that they do. But when they come to our meetings or to the committee meetings and outside of the district where they don't live, there are agendas and things being pushed. And we make comments in regards to them instead of addressing the issue with them and guiding them and help them. We know that there are things that the city might want to impose on us to vote on. And it doesn't affect us because we don't live there, but they're part of our community. And I think that we should be supporting them and guiding them and not trying to behoove them in any way and saying that there's no people living in that area. There are people living in that area. And we know there's going to be new board members here. And a lot of times, a lot of people say, oh, well, we need to pass the torch or we need to educate some of our board members because some of the things that they say there is not fair. We also have to sit back and say, well, we understand some people came here, have it, and can't. We were one family that didn't have it, and we didn't have it. And my father was illiterate, didn't know how to read or write, but there was 14 of us, and he made it the right way. And we want to make sure that we all, no matter who it is, help and support them as much as we can. That's our job, to support our community. We have to. I know some people here, it's a rough situation, don't like cars. Some people, the parking. Some people don't like this. Some people don't like. We got to stop that rhetoric. Either you're going to support and help or try to make things better, or get out the way and let people make sure that they know what they're going to do. Because we got to be on the same page, all of us. Because if we're fighting each other and being divisive, then this is not a community board. It's supposed to be community driven. And if you have something on the outside that's personal that is not, don't bring it here. Don't bring it here. I'm not going to be the one. And we're not going to be the one. We want to work. There are things that are coming down the pipeline that we know that's going to affect this community. It may not affect some of you, but if it doesn't affect you, what happened to your next door neighbor, to your brother, or to your sister that's on the other side, or the forgotten side on the other side? But you're supposed to be the community board. Isn't it community? Ain't nothing personal, and it shouldn't be. So I know lots of times myself and the district manager hear some of the things, and I don't want to call nobody out. That's not my job. But I want we all to be with each other. Sometimes I might say things, yes, only because I feel and it's in me and I know what it's like because I've been there. People tell you, oh, you can pass the torch. How you know how I was? How can I pass the torch if you don't feel like me? You never had it like I did. When Bushwick was burning and there were none but rocks and bricks here, and I used to play in the rocks there, nobody talk about a basketball court or a dog park. So you got to understand these people, and you got to understand us if you want to live with us. And you have to be part of us in order to live with us. It's not about you, it's about all of us. And that's the metabolism you got to come here to this board, because we're going to be termed out 2027. All the old timers here. All of them. And when you see people coming through that door, and I was just hearing in the news, 30% of the cities are going to be seniors. That's me. 65, 64 and older. 20%. Eventually, y'all going to hit that age. I never thought I would, but y'all going to hit that age and y'all going to say the same thing and remember what I say. So I just want to make sure that we are addressing the welfare of the district. That's important. We know everybody has different ideas and people are in different clubs and believe. Here is city services and making sure that they do their job. I know everybody got different things and fighting for civil rights and fighting for this. No, we here is Bushwick. Just like Barbara said, we got to breathe every night. Bushwick wasn't made in 2 hours or in an hour, minute. Bushwick made 1, 2 in the morning. We used to leave out of here because we had housing to be built that needed to be built. We had people that were losing their jobs and suffering to be built. And we worked in warehouses and factories when they were closing down. So we ought to make sure that we support our people and help our people in whatever capacity you guys do. I know a lot of times, a lot of people, I hear it constantly. Oh, we don't want this and we don't know. How is it that, why is it that you don't want it? How is it that you can help? How is it that it can be both ways and work? And it's hard for me to say that because I was the same, just like these people were. But I had seniors and people to tell me, we don't do that here. And to this day, when I was speaking with Barbara constantly every day, I spoke to her. She said, no, we don't do this, Robert. We don't do none of that here. So we want to make sure that we support you guys. We want to make sure that we work together, regardless of what it is. Someone on the opposite block are having issues, and you got a concern, you got to address it. Because it's going to happen in your block. And then you got them they're going to say, you didn't help me. So why should I help you? So we all got to be together, whichever. If you're not for Bushwick, I don't know what it is you're here and what you're doing here. We're not, there are organizations that you guys can go and rally and fight and protest. Here, we want to make sure we serve our people. That's what we do in the community board. Make sure the city services and your tax dollars go to what you want to go. Police services, security. We're short crossing guards. Nobody is mentioning that. I was there crossing the street the other week with kids, and nobody wants to take those tests. We're short crossing guards, and our kids are crossing the street. I have parents that tell me constantly, the crossing guards got to go everywhere else and bouncing around and those are our kids going to school. We're talking about the trucks on Bushwick Avenue. That's commercial. We're talking about getting rid of personal seniors' cars. But how about those trucks that are construction trucks that are going up and down Evergreen Avenue and all the traffic on Bushwick Avenue? Which Bushwick is no commercial, no commercial traffic for years. So y'all want to fight? Let's fight for the right thing. Y'all want justice? You want air quality? Y'all want, guess what? My car sits there 24 hours, 7 days. I don't move it hardly because I can't find parking when I come out. But yet you got this truck laughing because I'm serious. These trucks coming down, Evergreen, construction truck coming down. What do you think that diesel is doing to you? What do you think it's doing to you? But yeah, you're fighting over a senior car. You need a senior to use that to go to the store. And you want to take it with car. It's light. They're taking the daylight, the corners now, daylighting. Yes, we don't mind you taking it, but not all of it. Let's work together where we can make sure, yes, let's create that daylight, but let's make sure that we all have. Everybody comes here and taking it. Outdoor dining, the bike racks, the kiosk, the parking, the rental car parking rental that they're using now, the drop off, the truck parking spot, and they want to take out. But yet the seniors in this community lived in that building for 80 years and can't a parking spot in the front of their house. But yet they pay taxes, they clean 18 inches over the curb, there's foundation in their crack from the sidewalk breaks because of the city street that put there. And we for them. Let's get truth to people. Let's not wait to people to make a change. I'm no longer here. Thank you. And I also want to thank Celestia. That was November 21st. I was so proud. Her dad was there. He was so proud. It was so funny because we had the conflict of interest guy that does the classes here. He received an award, and he was making jokes that he said, I know how many times a lot of people here took the course, and if you didn't take the course, take the course. I said, I raised my hand. I said, I took it 3 times. Everybody started laughing. So it ain't that it was counted that we took it all the time. So let's bring them over here to make us laugh. Also on the 27th, on Friday at 10 o'clock at 441 Wilson, there was a rally. This is what we got to do. Tenants, there was a fire. Department of Buildings go in there, shut the light off. Con Edison shut the gas off. Now it's free fall for the landlord. It's free fall. You have the tenants outside freezing. That's what they do. So you want to make sure, get the building department there. Why you shut the gas? What was the problem? Well, let the landlord go in there and fix the plumbing. Now wait 10 years. That's what they do. Those are tactics that they do to get us out. It's exactly what they did to these tenants. Exactly what they did. Since I did Horsey Central, that I told you I went out, that the lady called me, and I went over there, and there was no vacate order from the Department of Buildings. There was no vacant order from the fire department. Just closed the basement down because the fire was in the basement, because the landlord had somebody sleeping in the basement with a hot pot and set it on fire. So now they got to go out, so they vacate the whole building without those tenants in there. And when I went in that building, I couldn't believe there was nothing wrong in that building. So we got them in there. And we forced them, no, you can't lock them out. That's what they do. That was at, and there's another location I know they just told me, I know there's people here from that location, and we got to stick together and fight and make sure. I know that they, some people went to court, and they have to condemn that building or knock that building down because the developers know what they're doing. And Department of Buildings should be supervising these jobs. They can't be everywhere. Someone, they cracked the foundation. Now the building's got to be down, and now people are homeless because of their scrupulous. So that's exactly what they do. So we have community resist here that are constantly fighting. Thank you for those people to make sure that they come back. But when you go to court, what the judge going to say? You got to vacate. The building's got to be demolished. And guess what happens? The same guy that demolished the building is the same guy that buy that piece of property. So now he got square footage to build up where we don't live no more. And that's how he makes the big buildings there. Monday, I want to thank Sunday, the 8-3 precinct community partners. Thank you, Captain. Turkey giveaway. Everybody ate. Everybody ate for Thanksgiving. There were 500 and something turkeys. We had Emerald on Myrtle, and Saddam gave another 300. So we're like 800 turkeys. So we gave out to the people in Bushwick because they had to register and make sure that they came out. And it's so funny that you see the train station, you see those guys working there, getting $40 an hour. They were even on the line. And I'm looking at them and I'm saying, this is for seniors. You know, you got a job. These people ain't got a job. You got people coming with wheelchairs. Oh, it's not for, no. You want to chip in and we can buy one and we can give to them? Oh, no. Okay, then. You got to keep it real. If you can afford to buy something, then be it. If you don't have, we'll give you. But if you're working and you're a flagman and you make it $40 an hour and you standing on that line and my senior's there with a wheelchair, guess what? I'm not giving you a turkey. And that's what I did. I make sure everybody got a turkey that needed it. We signed them off, we registered them. And thank you, Captain. He was out there with us. We went there at 5 o'clock in the morning to Yonkers. 5:30 in the morning, they were trucked and we filled the truck up and we brought it all to Bushwick. So that's what the precinct does. Those are the people that we wanted to fund. Out there in the cold, and it was freezing that day. 5 in the morning, sector car went out there to Yonkers and brought turkeys, a truckload of turkeys with the community partners. So thank you, Cap. On Tuesday, we met myself and Celeste and some people on Flushing Avenue and Scott. In regard to that, it's the section there. It's Williamsburg and Bushwick got one in. We don't know on our end. We know what they have to do. They're gonna paint the lines, fix the stop sign, and also trim the trees because someone was killed there and the mother was there, a lovely lady. She was there that same day. We had economic development and housing, December 2nd at 6 o'clock. The tree lighting on Maria Hernandez Park with Sandra Williams and Jennifer Gutierrez. From there, we went up in Knickerbocker. We were singing Caroline's. December 3rd on Tuesday, Borough Board meeting. I know a borough a board rep is here, and I just was a little concerned in regards to the meeting because I know I told the executive board that they were voting on something not in contrary to a park that they wanted to fix that touch 3 community boards. So they were voting on it and it didn't go through. It didn't pass quorum, but then at the end, it did. There was a vote. And the only people on the city charter, and I was a little confused. Why when I go back to the borough board meeting, I'm going to address it because I was a little concerned because Parks Department would normally come to the community board when they ever want to build the park or they want to change the structure of the park. At this time, they didn't go to the community boards. They came to borough boards and their council reps are there and then you vote on it. But people that doesn't affect it don't vote on it. Only the people that the community board is adjacent to this park. And I was a little confused because you're right, the community board can. But the council person in that area don't represent that area. Why is he a voter? So I they gave me 2 minutes because I'm the 2-minute man, right? Because every time I make sense, they only give me 2 minutes. So I looked up in the charter and I to my rule, I will let them know that boards, the borough board consults with the borough president as the chair, or the council members from the borough and the chairs of the community boards in the borough. And the thing is this, who may vote only on the matter directly affected their community district. So, that those council people that are not there voting on something. And the only reason why I said that was because they didn't come to the community board to get approval for the community to make this park that they want. We want input. You don't go to Borough Hall, sign off on something, and then go do it. Then when something happened, blame the community board that didn't get. So it's in black and white here, and I'm going to address it with our borough president because they did vote, and I have the stakes here. I do CB6, CB8, CB14, and the council person that voted was the borough president, District 36, 37, 39, 41, 42, and 50, when only 3 councils should have voted on this. So those are things I want to make sure that if you're voting on something, we always get penalized when we do something wrong. So when they do something wrong, who penalizes them? So I just wanted to address that because there was a little concern. Also, Wednesday from 2:30, me and Celeste met with the borough president in regards to time and attendance and getting people on the board. We need people, we need young kids too, man, young, 18, 19. Bring them here. Instead of them hanging out, bring them here. Go to committee. We got one, it's borough, so we need we need some more. So they can get in there and be chairs and make sure they continue to serve their community. They'll learn a lot. They learn how to house and land use. You got education department, CEC. You learn to get involved and don't wait until something happens in order to get involved. Also that same night, we had the executive board on Wednesday, the 11th, District Service Cabinet. I think, I don't know who you are, because I know all the city agencies come to our district service cabinet. HPD, buildings, all of them come and address concerns that we may have. Also, there was a fundraiser for in Latinos Unido for Barbara Smith. That was on the 13th, on the 12th with the CB4 EPCC committee. There was also a coat drive from the 8th precinct. We gave out over 300 coats that day at 422 Central between 11 and 3 p.m. On Monday, as you know, we went to the board office was closed. We went to Barbara Smith's wake. It was beautiful, man. They sent out. It was really nice. The 18th, which was today, was the clergy breakfast. And then today is the full board. And that's it for me. Anyone who has any questions? I also did my part in regards to the committee that I chair. So everything is included in there. So there's nothing else on my end, Celeste, unless you have.
Any questions for Mr. Camacho about his report? Seeing none, I just have one point of information that I'd like to share in reference to the next door construction that Mr. Camacho has referenced twice. I meant to say this earlier during the public hearing. The Housing and Land Use Committee has been talking about developing a one-pager for both homeowners and tenants to understand their rights in that process, what to do in those steps. So we will be looking to partner with one of our local housing service legal providers to assist with that, and we will keep everyone posted. Other than that, we can move on with the agenda. This is the introduction of elected officials / representatives, name and contact information only. Elected officials, please come up if you're here in person. If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand. This part will also include community-based organizations and any businesses that are here. Name and contact info only. I know we have some folks here. Yep. Name and contact info. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So my name is Kimberly Vega, Council Member Jennifer Gutierrez office. Phone number is 718-963-3141.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Does it again? Okay. So the contact information for Council Member Jennifer Gutierrez is 718-963-3141.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Anton, on Zoom.
Hello, everyone. This is Anton Nimblet from Volunteers of America Bushwick Family Residence. We're at 1675 Broadway. I want to thank, yeah, that's us. Thanks.
Thank you. I see someone else. Maria, go ahead on Zoom.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Maria Valdez from the Office of Senator Julia Salazar. Phone number is 718-573-1726. Thank you.
All right. Last call, elected officials, community-based organizations, and any city agencies, also businesses, name and contact info. If you don't speak now, you forego your chance. All right. Seeing none, we now have the 8th Precinct Commanding Officer report, Captain Poggioli.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity for coming out tonight and just address everybody. Mr. Camacho, you said it perfectly. I always made it a point when I came into these meetings, right, every month, and I'd always bring up Barbara's name and the intention I always had to do that I knew at some point, right, realistically, that we'd be at this threshold where she'd no longer be with us. So I always thought it was that important just to bring up her name to start before I spoke, because here we are. So real good ceremony. I hope, at least here at the precinct, the resources and what we were able to do for her that day and her send-off was well received, and it's really like the least we could do. Mr. Camacho, I appreciate you acknowledging our efforts also with the turkey giveaway, because I come up here and we go through crime statistics often, but it's more than that. right? It's more than that. Like, we have a responsibility as this agency, as this precinct, to show that we truly are committed to that mantra, right, of community policing and being a productive component of this community. So if we got to shoot up to Yonkers at 5 a.m. to come back to hand out 500 turkeys for Thanksgiving to make, this community's Thanksgiving that much better for those families, then that's what we're going to do. And we're doubling down on those efforts. This coming Sunday is our annual sleigh ride that's taking place within the community itself. 10 a.m., we're making 4 stops throughout Bushwick, Broadway and Decatur, Bushwick and Woodbine, Evergreen and George, and Wilson and Grove. So again, we have tremendous community partners here. They were able to acquire a couple thousand toys. This past weekend on Saturday, they mobilized their resources again, and within 4 hours wrapped about 3,000 toys. And we'll be leaving from the 8-3 precinct about 10 in the morning, making those predetermined stops in the community, and then distributing toys along the way as well. So please bring that message back to the families in the community. There's a lot of toys to give away, so we need a lot of kids to show up. Absolutely. And we hope to see everybody out there. And again, we'll be out there ourselves, myself, community affairs, our neighborhood coordination officers, our youth coordination officers will all be taking part in that day. I'll just finish up briefly with some crime statistics. 41% decline over the past month. We're down in every index crime category in Bushwick over the past month. Year to date now, we're about a 13% decline. And I always bring up, like, what does that mean? Raw numbers, right? And, that number has grown progressively as we made our way through these presentations. And now we have a decrease of 261 incidents from where we stood at this point in 2023. What does that relate to? That's 261 less victims of crime in Bushwick. That's a testament, and I always say it, right? Not from us as the police department, but the collective effort that Bushwick puts forth on a daily basis. So I just want to say from the A3, thank you for your partnership throughout the year. I'll open it up for any questions, and then I know we all have some food waiting at this point, so I don't want to hold up that process any longer. But I'll take any questions now. Thank you.
Questions? Zoom, in person? All right, folks want to keep it moving tonight.
All right. Thank you very much. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
All right, we'll move on now to the district manager's report. That is my report, and I will also keep it brief. So good evening, everyone. I hope you've been able to enjoy the holiday season with loved ones thus far. I'd like to take a few minutes to spotlight new pages on the Community Board 4 website. Kim, when you can, just share the screen. Starting with the events page. So this is featured under the news section. So where you find our newsletter and other notices like the ones I read earlier this evening. The events page features recent events since the pandemic and will include all future board events, flyers, and information. You also have under the resources and community menu items, planning and projects. This includes the work of the planning fellows that have been assigned to the board over the past several years and other projects centering Bushwick. The latter page is still being updated, but we hope to make it, as informational as possible and keep everything that the board is doing transparent. This year's planning fellow, Zev Reisman, is working on a 311 project, which aims to delve into the history, purpose, and challenges of 311, particularly examining how community boards might play a role in improving the service request and response process. He's already started reaching out to agencies today, and so far we've gotten responses from Department of Health, Department of Buildings, and Department of Finance. It's pretty exciting to see this all come together, and we're looking forward to sharing more information. I'd also like to thank all board members for your service and your time. We know you have many other ways that you could spend it. We would not be able to do this work without you. And a shout out to our agency and elected official reps as well. And of course, there's a whole overview of meetings that I've attended. I will keep this short and sweet. Starting with the award presentation, I just want to say thank you to everyone for your love and support. It was a very rainy, cold day. The trains were a mess, a lot of delays. There was also, I believe it was the first deputy commissioner from DOT that was getting an award at the same time. And they had a whole group of people, maybe like 50 people from DOT, very loud. And then once the person was acknowledged, all of a sudden you just felt like a vacuum in the room. So, and when I was the last person to give a speech, and you know, I said before getting off the stage, I think DOT heard that there was a community board there, and I was going to have to save my complaints for later. So, but that being said, moving on with the rest of my report. The Future of Community Boards Working Group, citywide district managers. We've been having conversations about a proposed community board central staff. This is coming after a conversation with the Brooklyn Borough President, Antonio Reynoso, who wants to help champion a central staff. What does that mean? Right now, you have different city agencies that are given the community boards, probably somewhere really low down on the list of their responsibilities. They support us, or they're supposed to support us, but we are not the priority of any of those agencies. And the majority of those agencies, I'm pretty sure all of them, are mayoral. So depending on how the mayor feels about community boards will determine the quality of the service that the boards are being provided with. And I can tell you, based on conversations with colleagues, that it's changed over administrations. And so community boards are only as effective as the staff, as the members, but also as the support that we receive for human resources, for payroll, for IT. There is one liaison that is supposed to assist all boards with any IT issues. You know, Mr. Camacho can also share a little bit about that, but we're having conversations, and we're thankful for the borough president for lifting this up. We hope that other borough presidents will be supportive and that we can have an impact in the upcoming charter revision process. We will keep everyone posted. I also had a conversation with David Iancongello from City Tech about CUNY offshore wind. There'll be more information likely coming to the Environmental Protection Committee soon. And then Mr. Camacho already mentioned the meeting. This was specifically with Carol Ann Church, the director of CBs from the Borough President's Office. Lacey was there as well. We have not received many applications for CB4. We know this because we have only 38 members on the board right now after several folks have resigned. Some folks have had personal circumstances. We know there was just a meeting where some folks were removed due to attendance. We want to encourage, you know, those that are able to help get the word out, and we'll be coming up with some creative ways to help promote this application being open this year. And let's see, I also spoke with folks that were involved with the Bushwick Community Plan. You may remember the name Gabo Halili. So Gabo has a consulting firm now, and he's in Brooklyn. So sent some information to the board's office. We reconnected. There may be opportunities to collaborate in the future, but glad to have someone who values the work that they did within the community so close. And then let's see, on December 13th, I met with Quincy Blair and Jessica Elliott from the Urban Land Institute. We are tentatively talking about a second Brooklyn Urban Plan workshop. There are some board members that attended earlier this year in January. It is an all-day 9 to 4:30 a workshop. However, you learn and basically plan a housing proposal. So really important for Housing and Land Use Committee members, but it will be open to all board members. If you'd like more information, let me know. And I also want to just shout out the meeting I had. Oh, that's what I want to shout out. I want to thank the Bronx community boards. We had our 3rd annual district manager gathering, and this was the first time it was hosted in the Bronx. So many of us that aren't there took the trek far, far away, and we had a nice time. So just want to thank the folks for participating in that. And the last thing, or last 2 things I will reference, I met with the IBO to have a conversation about the work that they do, how they support community boards. And today, a conversation that was supported through the Historic Districts Council with Citizens NYC about their grant program. I'm going to be posting information about their grants, which are opening up. They have 2 grant cycles, but this is for community projects. It's really about supporting grassroots efforts. A lot of their applicants are volunteers, and this is up to $5,000 that you can get to support whatever efforts and initiatives that you're doing. Wishing everyone safe and happy holidays. Thank you. All right, committee reports. Bullet points, please, folks. And we have, starting with economic development, housing, and land use.
Slim pickings this month, I guess. So, hi, everybody. I'm Ann Guiney. I am the chairperson of the Housing and Land Use Committee. My co-chair of Economic Development, Christine Malden, over there. I'm going to keep it very short and snappy. We met on Tuesday, November 26th, which also happened to be Mr. Freddie Fowler's birthday. We were very glad that he spent some time with us that day. And then our primary discussion, which was a very robust one, was to really dig deep into the responsible development policy. We've been talking about it. This is an update. It is, I think it's been copied in the emails to people. It's available to the public who would like to look at it. We made it halfway through, and then Celeste pointed out quite rightly that we shouldn't rush because it's too important. We want to make sure we get it right. So very briefly, we talked about things like parking, about relationships with other local organizations, not-for-profit developers, how to incorporate the formerly incarcerated, and then guidelines for new developments and community benefits, site design, things like that. So this is going to be an ongoing process. We always welcome everyone, board member, member of the public alike. We always love to see you. It's always the last Tuesday of the month. Please join us. It's fun, actually. And then I also wanted to second what Mr. Camacho had raised. This is something we have been talking about, resources for people who have major construction right next to them. And to make sure that when that happens, and if something bad happens, you're not caught on the back foot. You already have preparation. You've already know what your rights are. And if it makes sense, even resources for setting up legal pre-agreements with the developer beforehand. So that, again, people are not losing everything because of a situation they did not cause. I think that's hugely important. That's going to be a project of the Housing and Land Use Committee this coming year. So that is it. Any questions? And please do join us, please. It is fun. Oh, the meeting is at the board office. 1429 Bushwick Avenue.
Joanna, you have to come up. You need the mic. Yeah.
Joanna Bennett, Community Board 4, and this does somewhat concern housing and land use. Several years ago, and this is before Celeste, when Nadine was the district manager, we had a lot of discussions about people in Bushwick being solicited by developers, people coming to our doors, people coming and offering money. And then I remember at some point, I believe it was Assemblywoman Davila talking about putting together a cease and desist order from Bushwick, I guess for the state, because she's a state Assemblywoman. Has there been any progress? Recently, I talked to Stephanie Zinnemann's office. I know the legislation, but what's happening? And it's happening so aggressively now. So what's happening with the cease and desist? Any progress?
So Councilmember Nurse worked on this in East New York, not in Bushwick. And I think what I can absolutely do is follow up and say they were able to establish I can't remember the technical name of it, but basically cease and desist zone for exactly that. I mean, I've heard the horror stories too. People walk up to a house with a literal duffel bag full of cash. It is insanity, undersell. And, who doesn't want to see a duffel bag of cash? I certainly would like to, but it's like you don't make good decisions on a major asset like that when you are looking at all those dollars. So I think that this is something that we could follow up. Luckily, we have the incredible asset of Millie on our committee who works for Communities Resist and as our second vice chair. So I think, and we have a lot of assets to draw from for following up on this. Yep. Yeah.
So Joanna,
yeah, it's crazy. It's not okay. It is not okay.
Folks, please, you got to use the mic, Joanna. Folks,
so I will just to put it into the mic, what Ms. Bennett was saying is not just mail. I mean, it's mail. It's not just bags of money. It's phone calls. It's a literal actual harassment and driving people nuts. So I think that we should elevate this as an agenda item for HLU.
I mean, to my knowledge, I missed part of this because I was asked the question, but if it's about Bushwick being a part, I'm pretty sure Bushwick is a part of the cease and desist area. And what I would suggest you do is research some information online. If you need assistance with that, about how you can find out more, you can always contact the board's office. But otherwise, I encourage all homeowners to double check to see what provisions you have available to you based on that expanded zone. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you're going to say more, Joanna, I have to encourage you to
Yeah.
use the mic because people can say we're not being transparent.
And
in Zoom.
in the interest
Yeah.
of time, let's put that for new business on the Housing and Land Use Committee next month.
Okay.
Let's absolutely do that.
That works. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to follow up after Ann, Christine Malden, Chairperson of Economic Development Committee. It's kind of early days, but I just wanted to put it on your radar that we're talking about doing an inventory of businesses along some of the major corridors in Bushwick. Oh yeah, I thought I sound so loud to myself. It's early days, but we're talking about doing a business inventory along some of the main corridors in Bushwick. Business inventories just to have a sense of who the businesses are in the neighborhood, a little bit of an updated sense of who's operating in the neighborhood. So these types of reports were done in the past, but I think it's like 7 or 8 years old, 2017, 2018. So we'll talk about this more in committee, but we're talking about going boots on the ground down some of the major arteries like Wyckoff, like Broadway, potentially a third one as well, just to get a sense of who's out there and establish a relationship with some of the businesses in the neighborhood. You'll be hearing more about it, but I just wanted to put that on your radar because, of course, volunteers will be welcome. We'll hopefully be partnering with some of the other community organizations as well.
Okay. Thanks, Christine.
Thanks, everyone. Happy holidays.
All right. Next, we have environmental protection, transportation, sanitation, and parks. And I believe Ben is going to give the report this evening.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Ben Tucker. I'm the co-chair of the EPTS committee. My committee co-chair, Christian Celeste Tate, usually gives this committee report for transportation. I'm going to cover that for him. He's unable to be here tonight. He had a death in the family, and so my thoughts are with him and his family. The committee met on Thursday, December 12th. We do not have any recommendations as a committee, but I'll just provide information. We had DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection, came to visit us. They are running a service line replacement. So it's actually really important if people are unsure when your service line that delivers your tap water was installed for your address. You can look this up online because some service lines, if they were installed before the 1960s, they may contain lead, and any amount of lead in your drinking water is unsafe. So you can check if your service line has lead at nyc.gov/DEP/LEAD. That's nyc.gov/DEP/lead. And if you do happen to find that your service line is made with lead materials, don't worry. The DEP will replace it for free. If you're a renter and you do this research, you can contact your landlord. Your landlord has to sign off on it. You can't sign off on it as a renter. If you're a homeowner, you can sign off on the program and the DEP will come. It only takes about a day. Your tap water will only be shut off for about 8 hours to get your service line replaced. It is completely free. And again, if you're a renter, you should encourage your landlord to do this because your landlord will save about $10,000 to $15,000 off of their construction costs because DEP will do it for free. And as well as it being replaced, currently DEP actually treats the tap water with something called orthophosphate, which is a food grade additive, and it creates a coating on the pipes so that none of the lead or any of the minerals leach into your tap water. So if you do find out that you have a lead service line, again, like, don't worry too much. You're probably not having any lead leach into your tap water, but you could get it replaced for free so that you never have to worry about it. The website is nyc.gov/DEP/lead, and it is also in the committee report, which is available up at the front here. And like I said, we have no recommendations, but I do want to allude to a couple things that we're trying to work on in 2025, specifically as they pertain to transportation. Chairperson Camacho mentioned in his report that there's a lot of citywide policies that are not necessarily tailored towards Bushwick. And while they are worthwhile policies to investigate because they would increase public safety. They would have an impact on everyone here. So to that end, what Mr. Camacho mentioned was, for instance, daylighting, which is a procedure in which the last 15 to 20 feet before an intersection is blocked off so that a car couldn't park there. And while that does increase safety at intersections, one thing we're noticing is that for some of our older homeowners and residents and longtime residents, it's going to impact their ability. It's going to just make parking a little bit more scarce on their block. So one of the things we're looking into investigating as a committee is reaching out to our statewide electeds about the feasibility of looking into some sort of pilot program similar to the way that other cities do it, where there would be a residential permit for parking. Again, just to make the knock-on effects of removing some of the parking for a very valid safety reason, and potentially help out some of the longtime residents. Some of the other things we're looking into in the same regard is the MTA fare free program, which made the B60 bus fare free for about a year. That program ended. It was only a 10-month program, and so we also asked the district office to reach out to our statewide electeds about the feasibility of bringing that program back. As people find it is harder and harder to use a vehicle and to own a vehicle for recreational use, it'd be great to give them free public transit options and options that work with the community. As Mr. Camacho said, the city will come down with a citywide policy, and as the board, it is our responsibility to give feedback to the city with what we think would benefit the residents of the community. I'm available for any questions. Stephanie? Let me get you a mic.
You need the mic, yeah.
Thanks so much. The service line, Stephanie Anderson, CB4. The service line that you're speaking of, is that the line that goes from the building to the street, like directly?
Yes, it's the last pipe that connects the physical address of your building to the water main in the street.
Oh, great, because mine's been there for like 100 years. So,
you can get a free new one from DEP.
wow, okay, thank you. Right. The residential permit for parking that you spoke of.
Mhm.
So what does that entail? How would that work?
I don't want to get super into it now, and I would also recommend that anybody with an interest in this come to the next transportation committee meeting. But essentially, the way parking is assembled now, it's just a complete free-for-all. And what other cities have done is they will zone out regions for parking, and if you are a homeowner or if you have a residency, you would get a permit that you can, like a decal that you can put on your car that would say, for instance, Bushwick would be like zone A and Williamsburg would be like zone B, and it would say it would be a sign that would say parking for residents of this zone only. And so it would be obviously a humongous undertaking, and we're not necessarily it's very aspirational, but we do want to engage with our electeds about what it would look like to introduce a program like that, or to pilot a program like that, maybe to pilot a program like that specifically for not just all residents, but maybe for specific demographics. And so again, it's mostly because we recognize that there's going to be citywide policies coming into place that will have an impact on a lot of people, and we want to try and help some of the most vulnerable people.
Great, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Are there any state elected officials that can, maybe ask that last month, that can piggyback or give us some info or anything that we should be doing in order to advocate for this? Or yes, no, maybe on Zoom? Because I know we mentioned this last time, and we wanted to see if we can get any feedback from them, since they're the ones that are voting or finding out what is it that we can do to make this happen, or to create a pilot program to see if it works, thinking out the box. Because when the city does their pilot programs and their programs, they just throw it in there and don't even tell us anything. So hopefully we're laying our elected officials that are on, if they're on, to get us any feedback or any information that we can work on.
I believe the only one here this evening is Maria. Maria, are you able to provide some information on this at the January meeting?
Yes, so I actually did mention to Senator Julia Salazar about this question that was brought last month. And I know she had this conversation with you, Celeste, in the past. And I know that she's in favor, but she said that she will get back to you guys and that she needs to do more research on how this will work out.
Okay.
But definitely get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Christopher Graham, CB4. How you doing? Question in regards to the water lines. So if I'm understanding this correctly, they're relying on the homeowners and the tenants to notify them of which lines are bad for them to come out, as opposed to how the gas company, when they came and changed the lines, they came out and they inspected all the lines and they took the initiative and changed everything.
Yeah, that's a great question. So they are conducting outreach, but I was under the impression that it's going to be teams of people hitting the streets with clipboards and going from residency to residency. And so I think in terms of expediting the process and making sure that you can advocate for yourself. If, for instance, you find out, especially if you're a renter, I would say, because that was a concern that I brought up in the meeting to the DEP, is I'm a renter. And let's say I did look this up and I don't have lead pipes, but let's say I did, I can't sign off on the replacement. I would need my landlord to sign off on the replacement. And I'm sure plenty of renters here have the same experience. My landlord is an LLC. I am lucky enough that I've met my landlord, but a lot of people have never met their landlord. And so as a renter, to get the ball rolling before they come to your house and knock on your door and say, we're interested in replacing your pipes, but you would actually have to go get them in touch with your landlord. You can look it up on this online portal, just to take care of your own individual address, or if I would say if anybody has neighbors who are not who are lacking internet access or are not as internet savvy, to look it up for them and inform them of this, especially if they're a homeowner. This could save them a lot of money on a replacement. But it's a very valid concern because it's going to take them a while to get from door to door as they do that sort of outreach.
Well, my concern is, like you said, it may take them some time to get there. So in the time that it takes them to get there, let's say you do have a lead line. Mm-hmm. And so, as you can see, there are only but so many people in this room, and there are thousands and millions of pipes out there. So by the time they get to all that, the damage could be done. So I think, we might want to push the initiative if they can go out and they can inspect the lines, because, you work, I work, everybody works. Mm-hmm. And so it's really, they're doing the due diligence on the behalf of the landlord, and it's their health that's at stake, and they may not even be aware of something like this because people are busy and so on and so forth.
I think most people would not be aware of it. I had no idea that there was a possibility that my pipes could contain lead in them. As I mentioned, they do treat the water, and so it does keep the lead specifically out of the water supply. But if all the pipes were to be replaced, there would be no reason to have to treat the water with orthophosphate, and we can just have tap water without it.
Gotcha. And secondly, moving on, in regards to the parking, is that going to be for owner-occupied buildings? Because, as you said, you live in a building with an LLC and somebody's there.
Yeah.
You have a car, your neighbors have a car. Who gets the parking permit?
We haven't reached a conclusion on what we plan on including in our recommendation or what we plan on including in the asks that we make to the elected officials. But that's the reason I'm sharing it here, is I would really encourage as many people as possible to come to these meetings and weigh in on that, so that we can present something that represents as many people as possible who live in Bushwick, and not just a policy that's handed down and everyone has to uniformly deal with it.
The way it's done in other places, you get two passes. So you may get a pass for the landlord, and then you get a pass for the tenant. But over here, it's a little bit different because you have 2 families, 3 families, so on and so forth. So that's just something to take in consideration, that the way it's laid out. Because if somebody's going to get more than 2 passes per building, that means it spills it over into somebody else's spot. And the spots are already at a premium, so it's kind of going to be an issue somewhere.
Yeah, we have
Ben-
buildings.
Yeah, Ben, if you don't mind, if I can just like kind of like respond to this. So there are going to be a lot of questions about this. We know there are a lot of viewpoints. We know realistically not everyone can come to every single meeting, but if you have strong thoughts, you have strong suggestions about residential parking, whether it be examples from other cities or things that you know, please email the board's office that information. It will be given to the committee. I want to be very clear. The committee is not going to decide what this program looks like. It is very aspirational. It requires our state assembly and state senate to pass legislation to even make this a possibility. This may not even be anywhere remotely near their priorities because this is going to be a statewide policy. And then the city's Department of Transportation would have to design a program. We do not know if the city's DOT is going to include any community input or feedback, but we are trying to be preemptively, prepared for that and also advocate for a way to mitigate some of the other policy changes that are happening within the community. We've always referenced, seniors in particular, those that are disabled as being a primary concern because we know that they feel the impact, right, of loss of parking. We know everybody feels the impact altogether, but we know there are more vulnerable populations, even those that have to caretake older parents or relatives, et cetera. So, all of those things are being discussed. I just want to make sure folks know we're not anywhere close to this being like implementable. So I just want to be mindful of that.
Thanks, Celeste.
Thank you.
Alec Meeker, CBO.
Did the mic
Turn it off and then on again.
I have a question about the service lines and the material that's being used to replace the lead piping.
What material is being
What
replaced?
material, yeah.
Whatever the safest alternative is. I don't remember specifically what they mentioned. If you go to the website that I referred, the DEP website, I believe that it's listed on there. It's copper.
Copper?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thanks. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
All right. I don't see anyone on Zoom. Oh, you have something, Annette? Okay. I don't see anyone on Zoom. I don't see any other hands in person. All right. Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, everyone. Happy holidays.
All right. That was our last committee report. We will now move on to recommendations. There were none at the committee level this month. However, I just wanted to raise something before we move on from this. I spoke with Anne before the meeting. There's a group that was a part of the Historic Districts Council 6 to Celebrate program for the past 2 years, the Bushwick Historic Preservation Association. They sent a letter to the board's office in regards to a property on Bushwick Avenue. And we know that the senator has provided some funding to support the property. The request from this group was if the board is still supportive of preservation efforts along Bushwick Avenue. And so I just wanted to put that out there in case the board wants to make any kind of recommendation to reaffirm their support. If you do not, that's fine. We can keep it moving, but I didn't want to pass this, without mentioning it. Yeah.
Thank you, Celeste, for flagging that. And I do want to just say that I think this board has historically been incredibly supportive of the efforts of this group that came together not as part of the Bushwick Community Plan process, but alongside it, and really has done some incredible stuff, really trying to focus energy on some of the beautiful historic buildings that we have that we are losing month by month in this community. So I would strongly hope that we as a community board can support this effort because as my understanding, and I apologize, Celeste, for forgetting this, we do need to make that decision today so that we can get it in on time. But just I think it's worth supporting, and
So
we
you're
have been
making- so
supporting
you're
it for
making-
years.
So you're making the first, you're making the first.
I'm making a very long-winded motion to support. So
I second-
apologies for that.
I second that.
Favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. All right. I believe there are no other recommendations. We can move on to old business. Going once, going twice. None. New business. Going once, going twice. None. You know what we said around announcements already. Going once, going twice. I have to do that. You really have an announcement? All right, go ahead.
Felix Ceballo, my comment is about Barbara Smith. She passed away, but she was the king of Bushwick. And we had to continue her legacy because no matter what, she was sick, she don't start to work and defend her community. No matter what, there's a lot of change in our community. For many years ago, coming a lot of change, but change improve our community. Business improve our community. And our community enjoy a lot of business. But what I said before, we are residential area too. What I mean with that is had to be a balance. It's not only business. Thank you. Happy holiday to anyone.
Thank you.
Annette Spellin, Community Board 4. I just want to let you know that I've been informed that the 8-3 Precinct Council voted to rename the 8-3 Precinct Council Toy Fundraiser, the 8-3 Precinct Barbara Smith Community Council Annual Fundraiser. And with that, you got a year to get yourselves together, to get the toys together for the kids and turn out for the party.
All right, I don't see anything else for announcements. Second roll call. Board members, another reminder, please sign in or you will be counted as absent. Linda Whitfield's excused. Jerry Valentine.
President, have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, Jerry. Good night. Ben Tucker. Christian Tate is excused. James Stewart. Annette Spellin. Milagros Sandoval. Eliseo Ruiz. Raul Rubio. Zuma Novoa. Romika Nichols Barnes. Christine Malden. Luisa Jose. Tara Jones Thomas. Virgie Jones. Kaisha Johnson. Barbara Jackson. Tanisha Honeygan.
Present.
Deborah
Good night.
Hicks.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, good night.
Good night. Got you, Deborah. Zachary Hendrickson. Ann Guiney. Christopher Graham. Jason Gares. Joanna Fuentes Singh. Freddie Fowler. Cecilia Fabian. Karina Dodd. Elvina Davis. Andrew Choi.
Good night. Happy holidays.
Felix Ceballos. Melissa Carrera Solano. Robert Camacho. Makiba Brown-Elaine. Joanna Bennett. Stephanie Anderson. Isa Abney. Motion to adjourn. Elvina Davis makes a motion, second by Freddie Fowler. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. 7:58. We set a record. Happy holidays. Enjoy the potluck, folks.